Let's fans, welcome back to the 2 Months Hockey Podcast presented by Kentwood Ford. I am your host, Joshua Marshall, and we have a very special guest joining us for the very first time. He was drafted by the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round, and he was drafted in style and flash, as everyone got to see. And he is now a part of the Edmonton Oilers, and he's a Hobey Baker winner. He also was a part of the Team USA for the gold medal with their World Junior team, and he just was representing Team USA again at the World Hockey Championship. We like to welcome Ike Howard to the 2 Months Hockey Podcast. Ike, how's it going?
It's going good. Thanks for having me on.
No, happy to have you on. Yeah, just kind of jump into things. I guess you were just saying you're doing some working out. So how does like an off season look for you in terms of what you do off season, and how do you get ready for a hockey season coming up? And obviously you're gonna make your debut in the NHL here with the Oilers. But how does that off season training look for you? What kind of things are you up to?
Yeah, I mean, I think off season is just all about, taking care of the body and getting better. Right now I'm back home. Um, I've been working with my trainer, Carson Fossum, off the ice for probably like six years now. So going into him 4 times a week for lifts, and then on the ice, skating about 3 times a week right now, and then 4 times a week, probably start next week or something. And just work on little details on the ice, just obviously trying to get better and hone in my craft. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of my training for hockey, and then get out golfing as much as I can, tennis, pickleball, all that fun summer stuff.
Nice. Yeah, it's good to kind of not always have hockey on the mind. It's good to kind of do some other things. I don't know if it's a player you look up to, and like Austin Matthews being a part of the USA National Development Program and a member of the Hockey USA Hockey, but seeing him doing tennis and stuff like that, it's kind of cool to see other athletes doing things like that and pickleball.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are you? Do you guys with your friends? Do you guys get in little tournaments or anything like that? Is it just kind of more just kind of keeping the body loose and fun and making sure you just have a good time when you're playing tennis or pickleball?
To a competition like a tournament or something.
Yeah.
It's like fun and loose, and then it can be a bigger workout than skating or working out. Like you get bagged out there for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I wanted to kind of talk about like we do a lot of stuff like with minor hockey kids here in Edmonton and in Calgary too. And kind of one of the cool things that I think I see in it as a coach myself and seeing these small area games kind of growing a lot lately and how fun they are in practices during tryouts and whatnot. As a kid, when going in minor hockey, growing up. I think you guys even do it now, but was it kind of a cool, fun thing to do these small area games as, on a minor hockey player and obviously getting into, the college hockey, how fun they are?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're always the best things to do in practice. Growing up, we did it a ton when I was young. Just it brings like competition levels up. I think kids are obviously excited because it's the most fun part about practice. And even the last couple of years at Michigan State, that was what we probably did 3, 4, 5 small area games every single practice, like kind of a number in between there. And so it's just so much fun. Like when we'd step onto the ice, we'd always start with two passing small area games. So, there's no goalies, but obviously there's teams and loser skates. And I think it just sets a good tempo to practice. And yeah, it's always just fun when there's a little competition in it.
Yeah. Do you think it's kind of helped you? You're a prolific goal scorer. You can shoot the pill really well. Do you think it's kind of helped your game in terms of picking corners, picking, angles and learning how to, in those small area games, translating that to a game sequence?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think you can kind of start to figure out what works for you in practice because, in those situations, it's real like live hockey. You can start to kind of dictate goalie movements and, things like that in those small area games. And, it definitely helps translate.
Yeah, no, it's pretty fun. So, is there a couple growing up and playing minor hockey? Did you kind of have some good mentors? Obviously, your family's going to be there for you and whatnot. And that's obviously a cool aspect of having that. But talking about them, but also maybe some coaches along the way that have maybe helped you get to where you wanted to get to in life, and obviously getting to this point of making your debut in the National Hockey League coming up pretty soon here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the base of it all is, my parents and siblings, three brothers and my parents. I think everyone there just helped me, just by being themselves, and family dynamics and stuff like that is so helpful. And then, I think going to Shattuck was great for me. I spent 2 years there. I had Christian Bragnello as my coach my 14th year, and then Rich Mitro, my 16th year. And both those guys I thought were excellent and so good, and obviously just helping me grow. And then I was with Nightingale for 2 years at USA, and I think his approach helped me a lot as a player. Just the way he kind of approaches the game and treats everyone like a pro at a young age, which is super important. And then, I had him again at Michigan State. So kind of all those guys have helped me along the way. It's obviously it takes a ton of people to continue to get better and to move levels. So I mean, it's a lot. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of guys, but.
Yeah, no, there's so many people to thank along the way. And talk about Shattuck there. A couple of years ago, I was able to attend the John Reed Memorial Tournament here in Edmonton, in Alberta. It was in St. Albert, and it's a pretty big tournament. And Shattuck has a good standing history of having some great players coming out of that program. Talk about the decision of going there and how great it was, and how great the culture is at Shattuck as well too.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard all nothing but great things about Shattuck, and when I was kind of making that decision, I went up there for like a tryout, type of skate with the team, and when I did that, I just fell in love with the place, like having that ability to be in high school, but you're skating, at least once a day, twice a day, a lot of the times. The ice is just always there for you. It's like a hockey player's dream, I would say. And from that moment on, I just wanted to make the team and be able to go because it looked so fun. And when I was able to go for those 2 years, it was incredible. Such a fun hockey school, and I think it obviously helps so many players just get better and move on to the next levels. So I absolutely loved it there.
Yeah, it seems like it's a pro program in a way where, the development and understanding everything away from the game, and just being prepared for that next level. Let's talk about the NCAA. We're seeing kind of a transition of, obviously some CHL players going over to the NCAA, and how great NCAA hockey is. It's a place that you've called home for several years here. You've accomplished a lot at this level too. And obviously maybe in Canada it doesn't get enough play, but can you talk about like why that league is so good, and how that league is going to continue to get better with the players of the Gavin McKenna's coming, the Keaton Verhoffs, and others along the way, and what you've been able to create and start and help grow.
Yeah, I'm excited for the next wave of college hockey. I think having all those CHL kids kind of flood in now is just going to bring a new dynamic and bring obviously a ton more skill too as well, and make the NCAA probably a little bit younger as well. And I think it'll be exciting to see that kind of play out. And I just think why the college hockey is so good is it like every single game is basically a game seven. So you don't play many games. You the whole entire week's just a build up for those 2 games. You're gonna play the same team back to back, and it just feels like a battle every single night. There's really no nights off because you don't have enough. So everyone's going full out every game. Every game matters. I think that's also a cool thing about it. And then you have like student sections, and it's a totally different vibe. And I think it's just every player loves playing there. It's so fun, and the competition is great. I think you're gonna get older guys, mature bodies. The physicality is great. I think it helps prepare people for the next level, and overall, I just think it's a great league.
What do you think about the coaching there? Guy Gadowski's from Edmonton. He's at Penn State. You've had some great coaches along the way too. Can you talk about like what the coaching is on an everyday basis? I know Guy Gadowski was on with Bob Stauffer on an Oilers Now show here in Edmonton, and he was talking about you of being that dynamic player, but maybe giving back to the compliments he gave you to just in general the coaches at that level, because coaching is going to be a big part of success, but also the players emulating what you see in film and what you see in practice, making sure that you execute it in a game sequence as well too.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many high-end coaches. Obviously they all have their different philosophies and approaches and stuff. But I think like just a big thing about it is just the development you can get. Like when you're only playing a game Friday and Saturday, all these coaches have development plans for their players and how you can get better each day, make the most of each day. And I think that's really cool. And obviously a super cool thing about the league is you're not necessarily playing on Wednesday nights. You can just have that to train. And then, just how competitive, the coaches are and systems and film and every team's trying to get any competitive edge they can. And I just think that it's so pro-like and it gets players ready and you get players to buy in and stuff to systems. So yeah, I mean I think it's just a ton of high quality coaches for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Very well said. Let's move over to kind of the NHL side of things here, and you're going to get to meet some pretty good barbers here. We have a Shadified Salon Barbershop here in Edmonton, and Mo Rahal, he's the barber for the Oilers, so you're going to get to connect with him. And at some point, he takes care of all
Yeah.
you guys. He's got a nice little setup inside the rink, but so they sponsor our Oilers segment. They're good people, but it's also a good culture here in Edmonton, and you're going to come into that. But talk about the growth of being ready for that level. The trade happened. You're obviously excited that you're getting an opportunity to play at the highest level as possible. You've accomplished a lot at the NCAA level. What kind of conversations have you had since the trade with the Oilers, and what have you done? And meeting maybe talking to some of the guys through text or phone, and just being ready and excited to see what you've been able to see. Obviously, this team's gone to the Stanley Cup final the last 2 years in a row. Their window to win is still there. You're going to be a huge part in helping that process get through. But are you excited to get to Edmonton and start that new part of your career?
Yeah, I think it's just a super exciting journey and just a new chapter that, I can't wait to get started. Obviously I was super excited, when I got the news and I'm just excited to get to Edmonton and I've only been there once, so just, get there, check it out, meet the guys, the staff, kind of everyone involved and from what I've heard, it's such a good culture and stuff. So I just can't wait to be a part of it. And obviously it's been a dream of mine to play in the NHL. So it's nothing but excitement and joy from my end. And obviously just for the hockey wise, just sticking to myself, playing my game, not overthinking things. Obviously it's gonna be a jump and it's probably even maybe a bigger mental jump than physical. So it's just being mentally strong and just playing my game.
Yeah, one thing, kind of just getting to know you just through their little chats. You seem like a very humble and a very, you're obviously very smart, and the fact that it was cool to see what the charisma you had at the draft. The game kind of needs more players like that. And I think what you did there in terms of saying what you said with the nice suit, and obviously confident in your looks, but it's kind of cool to see that. But you are a very humble player and a humble person. And I think coming here into this city, you're gonna fit in well with the organization, the culture, the fans. I think the future's bright. The future is very bright for you. So it's going to be cool to kind of see that blossom and grow. And you have like Connor and Leon. You have so many great players and Darnell Nurse, and just a great cast here, and a great coaching staff, a great management staff. Um, is there kind of certain players that you emulate your game towards the NHL level, and guys that you've like looked up to? Obviously, we saw the Four Nations and how much talk that gave us in the hockey world, and put hockey on the map and
Yeah.
happened at the right time. How excited are you to be a part of USA hockey in terms of growing that side of the game and catching up to where Canada is? And you guys are right there, and being a part of that. How excited is that?
Yeah, I mean it's super exciting. I think the growth of hockey has been awesome for everyone, and that event was super cool. I think every hockey player was watching that, especially the U.S. Canada games. Those were sick. And yeah, I mean I think it's awesome. And I don't really emulate after like one specific player, but I love just watching games and picking guys on each team just to watch their shifts, little details they do and stuff, and just try to contain as much information as I can, every time I just turn on a game or something like that. But no, I mean, it's definitely cool and exciting.
Yeah, no, there's so many, and there's obviously so many players to look up to in terms of it. How proud are you to be a part of what USA Hockey's been able to do on and off the ice in terms of growing great athletes, but also growing great people in the game, where you're seeing such a big wave of athletes coming through that national development program, obviously college hockey, and then getting a chance to play at the World Hockey Championship with some of the best athletes in the world as well too.
Yeah, I couldn't be more proud. It's been an awesome ride with USA Hockey. I've been a part of many events now over several years, and I think they just treat it world class. Everyone I've been to, it's been awesome. And yeah, I mean the rise of hockey in the United States is awesome. USA Hockey is a big credit to that. They handle things so well, and it's just super cool where the game's growing to, and yeah, just to be a part of that whole entire thing is pretty special.
Yeah, no, I think it's like it's obviously we see where it's going. Like obviously Olympics is back and the best on best is back too, and that's going to grow the game in such an awesome way. So I think where it's going, what it's been able to do is a lot of fun in terms of that. So can you talk about a little bit more? We'll go back to your kind of game a little bit more. I think watching some film, I think that the obviously the skill and the offensive side is great, but maybe the most underrated part that might not be talked about is that I see like you seem like very defensive, like you love your defensive side of the game. It's something you can always continue to work on, but maybe you're more defensive awareness better than what other people think. Can you talk about like how proud you are to kind of, learn or adapt that, learn it more, and being one of the top players in college hockey in terms of offensively, but also understanding the defensive side of the game too, and how much pride you take in terms of on the other side of the puck as well.
Yeah, I think that's something I've just bought into the last couple of years is honing that in, and it's such an important part of the game. Like no matter how good you are, you need to be good defensively, and it's something that I've just been working on the last couple of years, and making sure I'm dialed in, and I'm finding enjoyment in having a good stick in the defensive zone or blocking a shot, like little things like that. And I think it's helped my game a ton. I think I've just overall like just always putting in more effort and caring and just making sure that you find just as much enjoyment on having a good defensive play as an offensive play. And I think that's something that I've done well the last couple of years. And I think it even helps create more offense at times, and it can ignite a transition or something like that. So I think it's just something that I've focused on, and my coaching staff helped me a ton at Michigan State, and just learning how important that side of the game is and away from the puck, and especially at the next level. So it's been super good, and a fun journey.
Yeah, no, it's obviously, and having that kind of coaching mind and understanding it and going over film, there's so many great ways of learning that and understanding it. Obviously, the
Yeah.
blocking shots. I think you're cool. I think it's cool you talked about being that active stick, having that stick in the right lane. Is at some point, do you think you want to, get an opportunity to play on the penalty kill at the NHL level, and the way you skate, the way you see the game is obviously very high end, and being able to kind of create it, because you're kind of seeing it more where a lot of these high end players are now becoming penalty killers. Austin Matthews did it a lot. Connor McDavid did it a lot. And Dreisaitl's done it a lot too. Is that something that you're comfortable doing when that opportunity comes, if that opportunity comes from the coaching staff here in Edmonton?
Yeah, I mean, I play on the penalty kill this year at school, and yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity, and obviously as a player, you'll just do anything that is going to help the team win, right? So if that opportunity comes, obviously, of course, I would take it. But yeah, I mean, I think just obviously doing what's going to help the team and what's best for the team, and things like that. But it's definitely it's definitely an important task, and if you're on it, it's obviously pretty fun as well.
Yeah, 100%. So it looks like your first game could possibly be against the Calgary Flames. So jumping into a battle of Alberta. I don't know if you've ever seen some clips online. I know Matthew Tkachuk kind of restarted that rivalry back when he was with the Flames. But how excited are you to kind of, possibly play in some Battle of Albertas, and just being a part of that kind of cool rivalry that has such a rich history in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, it's a sweet rivalry. It's always fun just to buy into a rivalry and, get that competition and, it's always unique a game when you have a rivalry game and obviously the Battle of Alberta is pretty special, so that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, nice, nice. We'll finish up on this. This is something kind of we always ask our guests in terms of the way they kind of give back and that lending some extra time off the ice. Is there some good community things that you've been a part of throughout your career playing hockey away from the rink that you take pride in? And is there some charities that you guys have worked with as a family or as an organization, at Michigan State that yeah, that is really near dear to your heart? Is there anything kind of that comes off that you can think of off the top of your head in terms of that?
Yeah, I mean, at Michigan State, we had a great group of guys and we did a lot of stuff off the ice, which I thought was really fun, and special. Pretty much like I'd say once or twice a month we were doing something, food drives, like just visiting hospitals or kind of, it wasn't like one specific charity, but just kind of giving back as much as we could. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then when I back home, my family have done, like the Ronald McDonald House, help, package food and feed my starving children, kind of just those things. And I always think it's cool and special when you can give back.
Yes, yeah, it definitely is. It's a good gift and a good rewarding gift to do that for sure. Ike, well, we really appreciate the time you gave us today. It means a lot. We're looking forward to watching you, connecting with you as your career goes on, and supporting you. I know when we were reporting on your possible trade here, I don't know how much we got so much traction. Like it was crazy how much activity our accounts seen when we kind of were hearing that your name was coming up. So the hype of you is real. It's great, and obviously we're wishing you the best success on the ice and off the ice, and the future is very bright for you, and looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a fun ride. So again, appreciate you joining us here.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that a lot, and thanks for having me on.